All right, ladies and gentlemen, hello. My name is Darius Anucauskas, and I'm the Chief Market Analyst here at Markets.com. And today is Thursday, ladies and gentlemen. So, yes, we are now looking forward to the interest rate decision from the Bank of England. Look, we had yesterday the Fed. If you haven't seen that, like, look, they did as promised. They went for that 25 basis point cut. But we also know now that they're going to be doing more cuts by the end of this year. So basically, we have two cuts left, and we have two meetings left, and they're in each one of them. They're planning to do a cut. Look, but I quickly wanted to do this video about the pound, the British pound, and hopefully you'll find this useful. So look, before we jump any further, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So yes, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation and should not be considered as such. This material should not be taken as an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest. So yes, like I said, this little video will be on the British pound, basically, and where it sits right now in relation to its major counterparts. Now, also look, a quick mentioning of our actually markets, that before we jump into the charts, Markets.com website, which you can always check out for more information about us. If you have any questions, reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist. Also, the little webinar that I'm going to be holding next week on Tuesday, so yes, tune in. Hopefully you'll like it. Basically, it's going to be about the RSI indicator and how we can apply it in real life, and if it works or not in general, because that's sometimes the question that traders ask themselves. Like these indicators, these more very respectful indicators, everybody's using them, but like, do they actually work? And but it's not really a straightforward answer. For some it does, for some it doesn't. Again, we'll look into different scenarios. We'll apply that in a real life market action. So hopefully you'll enjoy that webinar as well. So it's a closed webinar, so please register yourselves, and yeah, well, you can find the link in the description below. So ladies and gentlemen, like I said, yes, yesterday we got the interest rate decision from the Federal Reserve, from the Bank of Canada as well. I talked about the central bank interest rate decisions overall in one of my videos in the beginning of this week. You can check it out on YouTube. So yeah, like I said, we got the Bank of Canada when it went for that 25 basis point cut as expected. Together with the Fed later on, it also announced that 20. Everybody was speculating 50, but look, I said it before and I'll say it again. It was a little bit of a stretch, to go for that 50, and yeah, it's a little bit too much. Anyway, it was very interesting to see the the dot plot as well, because that was one of the bigger meetings. How they're projecting, further interest rate decisions, and if you saw that, let me just grab it here. So basically, what they're expecting here is two more cuts by the end of this year. So a cut in every meeting, because we have only two left for this year. One in October, one in December, and then we're expecting kind of another shift to the downside in the upcoming years, 26 and 27. So again, look, there's a bit of a spread in there, but certainly everything depends on economic data. Everything can change. So, but at the moment, these are the projections. Anyway, Bank of England. It's coming out in a few hours, or actually an hour and a bit, something from where we are right now. Yeah, we're expecting nothing there. We're not expecting any movement, any movement in the interest rates, the main interest rate. However, what's going to be interesting is to see how the vote will go, because at the moment the expectation is that seven members are for keeping the rate unchanged, and two for a cut. So if suddenly this shifts somehow, if suddenly we see some sort of a move, let me just switch off everything here. People are trying to get in touch. So if like I said, if we see a shift from the 7 here into that 2 field, into that group of people who want to go for a cut, that would be a little bit. We could see a little bit of weakness in the British pound. However, if by any chance there is at least one member here who's in favor of a hike, Ooh, that could strengthen the British pound. Talking about the British pound, this is like I said, this is the kind of the main thing of this video is I wanted to show you what's happening right now. So GBP USD, after yesterday's kind of strong decline back down, a strong correction back down, now we're trying to climb back up. Look, I talked about this previously in one of my Markets Talk webinars, which you can always join if you wish. It's for free every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It's a live webinar. So I talked about this idea. I said, like, look, if we do clear this 1.3588, I'm leaning towards the upside. We saw a nice retracement back down, but look at this, how well this area acted as a good area of support from which we're now rebounding, and I'm aiming for that 1.3788. Look, at the moment, I think that everybody is coming back to the realization that, you know, rate cuts are not good for the currency, and that's why the US dollar is kind of on the weaker side. So we're seeing a logical kind of a logical follow through. Everybody kind of calmed down with the US dollar. Now, like we're seeing this, seeing some weakness in that in DXY, and it's helping GBP USD here to push higher. It's not that okay, the fact that we're not expecting a rate cut from the BOE, that's also helping the British pound to kind of stay afloat, but also the weaker dollar is giving, you know, a helping hand here for GBP USD. So for me to shift my attention to some lower levels, to be honest, I would rather wait for a conservative break below this upside line, taken from the low, the 1st of August, and then yeah, we could kind of take it from there. In terms of other pound pairs, let me just quickly show you what I want to look at here. GBP NZ, look at this beautiful move here. Boom to the upside, ladies and gentlemen. Boom. Again, there is a little bit of fear kicking in into the market. Well, there was a little bit of fear, but I think that yes, the pound is right now is rocking here to the upside against NZDs, because again, mainly because of the BOE, and NZD right now is on the weaker side a little bit. Let's have a look at what's happening with, you see, that's what I'm talking about. GBP AUD is still holding. AUD is more moderate right now, is still a little bit on the stronger side. However, NZD is not feeling the love. And actually, if I jump into AUD NZD, you will see that beautiful move here to the upside. There we go. Look at this. Look at this rally here. I mean, this is crazy. Anyway, but the topic is the British pound for now. But certainly we need to look into what's happening with the NZD in there. So GBP CAD also pushing to the upside. Looking at this picture, you can see that we are at key areas of resistance. So basically, this whole area is a key area of resistance. I think we need to kind of respect that for now. And if we somehow clear it and we stay above it, then certainly yes, I am leaning to some higher areas, and certainly the 1.89 and the 1.90 become the next potential targets for GBP CAD here. Look, we have a bunch of upside lines which are all tentative. I mean, it depends on how you draw it. I mean, it's very subjective. Maybe it's this way, maybe it's that way. They're, like I said, they're all tentative, so we're gonna just keep an eye on all of them in case one of them works out nicely. And one of the main ones, GBP JPY, there we go. I talked a lot about this one in the beginning of this week, and last week as well. I talked about GBP JPY. I said we're in a somewhat of a triangle pattern here, ascending triangle pattern, with the barrier being around this 200 zone basically. And in general, I said, look, if we're going to clear the 200, I mean, we're opening the door to some higher areas, and the 201 becomes the next good target to aim for. Certainly, we have some key areas right here, like 208.10, which was last time reached back in summer of last year, in July of last year. I'm not saying that this is where we're going to aim for. No, for now, we're just going to go slow on this. We're going to aim for these levels instead. The 202, I think it's a good target. Let's aim for that one, and then clear that 203.80. I think it's a good target as well. So let's see if we can reach those. So, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, it was just a quick little take on the British pound and where it could go. And like I said, look, at the moment we're seeing some positivity, just because again we're not expecting a cut. However, keep your eyes on the, like I said, keep your eyes on the vote number. because some that could actually affect the pound further, at least in the short run. And like I said, if we suddenly get at least one person here for the hike, that would really spark some fuel here, for the pound against its major counterparts, and we could see some moves to the upside. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know in the comments what you think, if you agree or not, and yeah, we'll go from there. Thank you very much, and as always, stay safe, have your stop losses in place, risk only what you can afford to lose, don't overtrade, and everything will be fine. I'll see you later. Bye bye.